All right, welcome back to F&S Podcast. We are on the what's this boat called?
Wonder of the Seas.
Wonder of the Seas.
This is the official redo.
Yeah, don't even worry about that. We recorded one, but it got messed up. So we got y'all not even about to get that clip, so it don't even matter.
Just know that this is our second time doing this.
Yeah, but it's all good. So the topic at hand is
Who was the coldest white dude?
We had 4 listed.
Yeah, but like pretty much it's just centered around who's the coldest white dude to play NBA.
Period.
To play ball.
Of all time?
Of all time.
Yeah.
Of what we got to choose from. And we kind of narrowed it down to like 4 dudes. And what we got Larry Bird, Dirk Nowitzki, Luka Doncic, and Nikola Jokic.
Yep, and our list is pretty much the same. Yeah.
Our list ranked the same. We both voted Dirk.
That's number 1. Yeah.
Dirk is number 1.
And it's an edge for me. I mean, it's an edge.
The reason why we voted Dirk number 1, I think, was because his championship run, that finals, that was probably one of the hardest runs, if not the hardest run, any superstar had to go through in order to get to and win the finals championship.
Yeah, that I've seen. I mean, he went through a gauntlet of team. I should have looked it up. You know what I'm saying?
I don't got the internet.
Yeah, we kind of we in the middle of the sea, so I mean, we ain't got nothing.
Right. But we got, he went through.
I ain't in none of that bullshit. I'm 10 years older than all of them.
He went through the LA Lakers with Kobe, Paul Gasol, Andrew Bynum.
Yeah.
Then I know he went through the Thunder with Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden.
Yep.
I don't remember exactly who that other team was. Because that other team, it could have potentially been the Portland Trail Blazers with LaMarcus Aldridge and Brandon Roy, and I think Greg Oden.
So what round would that have been?
I think it would have been the second one, because I think the first round was when they took out Kobe and them.
Was that the year that Brandon Roy hit that game winner and it was all over the place in the playoffs?
Was it? That's a good question. Because
man, I wish we had the internet right now.
we know Brandon Roy's career, unfortunately, was real short.
Yeah.
So
he came back for the Wolves at one point, but
yeah, that's a good question. It could have been them, and it could have been the Spurs. I'm not sure.
I don't know. Yeah,
That's either way.
Yeah, it was tough.
Either way, that's a pretty impressive run. Now we know. Now, if we do go to Larry Bird's career, his run, it's like the main teams that he would have to go through. And these is official teams, not just official, just players.
Yeah.
Because we know Jordan made the playoffs and, they ended up, beating him in the first round. Didn't he get swept in the first time?
Jordan?
Yeah.
The 63-point game?
Something like that.
I believe so, but
he ended up getting swept.
would you be mad if someone said Larry Bird is number 1 and Dirk number 2? Would you argue that?
No. I mean, I don't think anybody could argue with it at all. I just feel like the optics, the team and whatnot, all of that leans towards Dirk, in my opinion. Now, the reason why Luka and Jokic aren't getting mentioned as being options 1 in this is because of the era of basketball that they play in.
Yeah, Jokic would be number 3 on our list.
Yeah.
Right.
And Luka would be number 4.
The main reason, Jokic, he deserves his accolades that he got
for this era.
But yeah, he deserves it because it's what he went against. But if you put Jokic against the centers of the era that we're used to, you know what I mean? Like,
we got a lot to go off of when we look at old Dwight Howard and how he was able to.
Old, you mean older, right? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Like NBA old, like NBA old, meaning
Lakers
like
Dwight.
Yeah, Lakers Dwight. This dude, he was on his way out. He was on his way out, which I mean, technically he still could play right now.
Yeah.
But he's NBA old.
Yeah.
So he was already 10 plus years in this league, and he's a rotational center.
Yeah. Yeah.
At this point in time in his career, and he limited Jokic from being the full threat, Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
And you can argue that Denver Nuggets team was probably the most talented Denver Nuggets team that he's played with. Because Jeremy Grant was over there.
Yeah. Sometimes I think we can agree. Sometimes, even when you have the most talented team down necessarily mean you're gonna win because folks gotta play their position correct.
Right.
So
Jamal Murray was having his pop out. I mean, all this stuff happened in the bubble with this team.
Yeah.
He was making that crazy layups, going about LeBron and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But Jokic gets number 3. He's not in consideration for number 2, in my opinion. Just because when you look at anybody that looks at the landscape of the big man in this era is really not that impressive. If you look at the landscape of the centers in this era, it's like you just got Jokic and Joel Embiid, and everybody else is like, all right.
Yeah, and you know, the thing is, and even with Joel Embiid, if Joel Embiid actually played like he was supposed to,
this wouldn't even be a conversation.
It'd be close.
This wouldn't even be a conversation.
With the truth is, whether people want to see it that way or not, Jokic, if you compare him to the 2000s big man, I don't know how good he'd necessarily be. I'm not saying he wouldn't be serviceable due to his size, but these cats don't like to play in the paint like that. So Jokic get away with a lot of things that the other guys would not necessarily allow, especially,
right.
You know what I'm saying, interior defense.
And defensive players of the year, especially 4-time defensive players of the year, back then was real defensive players of the year.
Yeah, Jokic
not just like these.
Jokic wouldn't get off on no Ben Wallace. He wouldn't really get off on no Mutombo. He really wouldn't get off on
not down low.
Like
not down low. Now maybe he might be able to do a little something in the perimeter, but
the way the offense was constructed back then, they wouldn't let that happen.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that he would run the offense. I'm saying he might be able to make some jump shots from the perimeter
if they let him do it. You know how back then those big men stayed in the paint. They weren't letting you go out there.
Right. I mean, but
even Dirk was in the paint.
Yeah, Dirk was in the paint, but he came out there every now and then. Like he made his threes too.
It was plays ran for that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And so what I'm saying is maybe if you give Dirk those allowances, then maybe Jokic does. Now I'm not saying Jokic is nowhere near the kind of shooter that Dirk is. It would probably be more focused on mid-range type of stuff. Like he might get Rasheed Wallace type of opportunities from the perimeter.
Look, this is not to hate on. No one's hating on Jokic here. It's just the big man game. It's not really.
Just if you just compare the eras, just look at who was in the league then and look at who's in the league now.
He pretty much got a free pass to those awards, man. Mm-hmm. Pretty much. He don't really have no competition to work with.
Which is like, given he can't control who he's playing against.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. So I mean, he deserves it, and he's gonna be in the Hall of Fame. I'm quite sure he already in the Hall of Fame. Like he gonna be Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
he already there. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
He I don't know. Now he got to keep doing this, but I mean, would you say he first ballot already?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. So I mean, he already done accomplished, you know what I mean, what he needed to be in the Hall of Fame. So now everything is just adding on at this point. He got a championship. He a 3-time MVP. You know what I'm saying? Like, he the best player. Would you say he the best player upon the Nuggets jersey at this point?
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, he already solidified in his position already. So, it is what it is at this point, whether folks agree with it or not. You know what I mean? Now, as far as Luka go, he's fourth, and he got big shoes to fill as far as Dirk Nowitzki, because we already know he's the best Maverick to play on a jersey. Yeah. He got his fadeaway on the court, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And he got one of the most difficult championships to win.
Right.
I mean,
Luka is just, right now, because here's the thing, with every last one of these dudes, you don't look at them to play any kind of defense.
Right.
So you just look at their offensive value right away.
Right.
The reason why Luka probably hasn't won an MVP yet is probably because his style of play, even though they let him play point guard, it's not like he's organically running the offense. I'm looking for my shot first, and if I can't get it, then I'm dishing it out type of passing. Which
is surprising due to who his coach is.
But when you look at their roster, who else is going to run the point? Or who can run the point on that roster? I mean, Kyrie's not a point guard.
Mm-hmm.
Neither is Spencer Dinwiddie.
Yeah, but see, it's the thing, right? He can run a point better than Luka can.
Yeah, but that don't mean that you're going to start him over either one of them.
Yeah, Luka needs to be playing the 3.
Not with Klay Thompson. You mean to tell me you would start Dinwiddie over Klay Thompson?
Yeah, see, somebody got to come off the... See, this is the thing. Well, Dinwiddie got to come off the bench. The thing is this.
They made it to the finals doing this in this era, so they don't have no pressing need to change that.
Yeah, but if they had... See, you can make it somewhere, but you still, at some point, need to have the correct... You know what I mean?
Well, even the NBA champion Celtics, they don't got no true point guard on that team.
Yeah, but Drew Holiday play defense too, and he don't make a lot of mistakes after one. Right. It's not like this dude. Drew Holiday can play the point. He not like this the thing. You got guys like Eric Snow, who just don't. He's a placeholder who don't make mistakes. Drew Holiday give you defense, and he can distribute if necessary, and he can give you. He's not going to turn the ball over and all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? He's going to get the ball to who is needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but for the most part, nobody on that team does.
Right, but...
Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Derek White, when they have their opportunities to have the ball, even Peyton Pritchard, when they have their opportunities to have the ball, they not making mistakes.
That's all you really need, though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can't be playing out of... This is the thing. When you play in a position you're not supposed to, you got to play it safe the whole time. You can't be doing stuff you ain't, because this ain't even your position. So you have to play it safe, literally. It's a placeholder position, you know what I'm saying?
Right. So they are able to get away with it in this league. The lack of defensive players has helped out with this. That's all it is. Defensive players has helped out with this.
In my opinion, in that finals, Dallas, I feel like they should have won. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't. You know what I mean?
It just showed offense with no defense can't beat defense with offense.
Yeah, because both the squads, if you want to be honest, have inconsistency traits to them. You know what I'm saying?
And like I said the first time around, Kristaps Porzingis was the X factor as to why they won that championship.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but
at least in my opinion.
You know, I'm not disagreeing with you, but this is the thing. If they meet up again, which is a possibility, with how the league is looking right now in both conferences, it looked like they could possibly meet up again. You know what I'm saying? If they met up again in the finals, I don't think it'd be the same. If
is Klay Thompson and Spencer Dinwiddie enough for you to say that they beaten Boston?
That's a little more firepower. I'm not gonna say those aren't good. Those aren't significant upgrades either. That's not light to have.
No, I'm not saying that it's light.
Because the thing with Kyrie, he wasn't able to score. You got somebody else who can score off the dribble, and you got somebody who can shoot. Those two dudes that can really go off if necessary.
Well, Spencer Dinwiddie got to go off because he's inconsistent himself. So he has to have a consistent player.
We're talking about four inconsistent dudes here. Luka be inconsistent. Kyrie be inconsistent. Spencer Dinwiddie be inconsistent.
Well,
Jason Tatum be inconsistent.
Inconsistent could mean different things for different levels of players. Like inconsistent for Luka, Brown, Kyrie, and all of them guys. Inconsistent for them could mean 20 points, whereas inconsistent for Spencer Dinwiddie could mean like 9.
Right, but I think Spencer Dinwiddie showed he can ball.
I mean, everybody knows that he can ball.
We're not looking at Spencer Dinwiddie to be one of the. He's just the guy that needs to go off with some people that's off. We're not looking at for Spencer Dinwiddie to carry the Mavs.
Well, see, ultimately, the only reason why I'm not sure if that means enough for them to win is because the X factor that Boston has that helped them, that to me helped them win this series, they don't have an answer for it still.
Kristaps?
Yeah, Kristaps.
He got to be available.
Well, that's all he was available for was in the finals.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, this is the thing.
If he's only available for them 7 games right there, you got to get a crazy defensive performance out of Lively, out of Gafford.
And mind you, Lively, he gained some experience, so I expect him to be better.
And PJ Washington, he's got to be more of an offensive factor.
Well, mind you, these some guys that haven't played in winning situations, so with that experience,
that first time around,
they should be able to elevate their game. See, Boston has been
to
the finals
in this situation for a long time.
All right, then. So they technically, by the letter of the law, they should have won. I wanted Dallas to win because I felt like they 2 superstars is more official than Boston's. I thought that would, but that didn't happen. So, you know what I mean? They technically, if you want to be real, should have won because they got the experience factor over Dallas. Outside of Kyrie, the only champion on that squad. You know what I'm saying? So
the difference is the 2 superstars on Boston, even though they not as official offensively, they both play defense. So it balances itself out because Kyrie, as great as he is with the Rock, they made it look like in that series that size could be an issue for him. Yeah. Because Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they both 6'7", 6'9", with length.
Right.
With length. And so...
But now Kyrie got somebody to kick it to.
They didn't need much help guarding him in that series. Like, they were able to guard him. And even Drew Holiday was able to do one-on-one with him. Because, like I said, this is my personal opinion on it. When you got defenders like those guys are, I'm not sending no help for you. Like, I'm just going to live with the results.
That's fine. They still got 2 more offensive threats. Whether folks feel like they're not threatening, you still got to pay attention to them. You can't just let them roam around because, you know what I'm saying?
No.
They pass or Spencer Dinwiddie inconsistent or Klay Thompson is not who he used to be. He's still a shooter. You can't just leave him there.
No, you're right. But, for Klay Thompson, spot-up shooter, just don't leave him open. That's the main thing.
Exactly.
Because he's not a threat to put on the floor and drive and score. He's not like that. Now, Spencer Dinwiddie, between those 3 defenders, whoever's on them, I can live with it.
That's fine.
Now, obviously, with your best defender, you would probably want Jaylen Brown guarding Kyrie and let the 6'9" length defense guard Luka.
The X factor for Dallas would be the in-paint play.
Which would mean they would have to give PJ Washington the ball, get him involved.
And PJ Washington shown he could do a little something if
he gets
given that trust. So they just gonna have to you have to make adjustments, man.
Right.
And the guys, when it comes to stuff like that, the X factors have to be the guys that's not the stars here.
Right.
Pretty much.
Like I said,
I will be running the pick and roll.
Kristaps Porzingis set the tone for that whole series when he came in and just popping up. He was acting the whole fool.
That's cool and all. I'll be running the pick and roll with Lively and throwing it, you know what I'm saying, catching them live because...
Well, they shut that down. Because they was doing that a lot.
You know what I'm saying? Regardless of the fact, you're going to have to keep shutting it down. You know what I mean? Like, just because you shut it down a few times, that don't mean I'm not gonna keep going to it. You still gonna have to, man. Listen, you gotta be aggressive. You know what I'm saying?
Now, the only other threat to them taking their spot is Oklahoma City.
Well, we'll see.
And Oklahoma City, they made some moves too. They didn't stay back and sit still. Getting Hartenstein and then trading Giddey for Caruso. I'm not the biggest fan of that move, but Hartenstein, I am a fan of that move.
We'll see what OKC can do. I got to see them do it first because, see, I need to see them like in the Western Conference Finals.
They was in the Western Conference Finals. They took Dallas to 7 games.
Right, and they lost still. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I need to see them get over the hump first because they're all young dudes. You know what I'm saying? Because none of them dudes on that team. Now, if you look at the OKC team from the past with Kevin Durant, Harden, Russell Westbrook, all three of them dudes potentially can be number ones on the team, obviously.
Right.
That's been shown. Harden, whether folks like him or not, he was number one on Houston. Russell Westbrook, he could have been the number one elsewhere. He shared it a lot with Durant, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And KD could have been number one. Now, with the Thunder, now you got Shea. Shea's the only one I see that's a number one guy.
Well, really. They got that one kid, Jalen Williams or Jalen, however you say
that dude ain't no number one guy.
Yeah,
those dudes, they nice.
In this league, he might be.
Those dudes is nice, but I don't see him as number one. Now, I will say this. That team is probably...
It's a poor man's version of that other.
Is they put together better? No, I wouldn't say that. But they are nice. That's the best Thunder team since them. And
they got Chet Holmgren over there, which is when he plays, he brings offense too. So they got the right mix.
They just gotta. First of all, they gotta be aggressive. They gotta play their game. See, this is the thing. Whatever got you there, you gotta stay on it because these teams be trying to, like, for instance, what teams go wrong at. You got to make adjustments, but you still got to play your game. Mm-hmm. You got to be consistent with it. You know what I'm saying? So they like to try to mix it up and change up how they play and all that. That's not working for you. You know what I'm saying? You got to do what you normally do to get there. And I can see the Thunder switching things up and everything like that. Matter of fact, what's the Thunder good at to you? What's their bread and butter, in your opinion?
They bread and butter is when Shea can get into the paint and do his little, do his fadeaway, fake jumpers, post jumpers, those kind of things.
Now, if they shut that down, what's the counter?
If they shut that down, who gonna shut it down? Who got the tools to shut it down?
You said Boston is cold like
Boston
that.
Boston is the only team that's really capable, so that would only happen when they get to the finals.
So how come they didn't do that today? How come they didn't beat Dallas then?
How come they didn't beat Dallas?
Yeah.
Well, like I said, Dallas right now, like what we were saying when we were looking at the finals, Dallas got the two best players stepping on the floor with Luka and Kyrie as far as offensive players that you can't really cancel out.
Right.
Because you got Luka, their number one is better than your number two. No, your number one. Their number two is better than your number two.
Right.
So I'm not worried. If I'm Oklahoma City, I wouldn't worry about Dallas being able to stop me from doing what I do because they're not a defensive team anyway.
So what you saying, they lost just because he wasn't on like that?
Well, he could be on. But what does it mean if Luka's on?
Somebody got to step up then and help him.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. That's the only number one guy I see over there.
Well, like I said, it would have to take that Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren. I mean, because like we said earlier, no matter who you think you're going to put Alex Caruso on, he getting cooked. Now, Caruso, I could care less about
Caruso. Listen. Caruso, he's more of an agitator kind of guy.
He's a hustle guy.
Which means those guys always get cooked. I wish people would look at that and see, because guys like Patrick Beverly get cooked all the time. Caruso, against dudes that's nice like that, Caruso get cooked all the time. just because you hustling, you might get lucky steals, interceptions and all that type of stuff because you hustling, you know what I mean?
Well, I ain't gonna call it lucky.
You're not shutting nobody down, man.
No, but you don't have to shut nobody down to have a big impact on the game. See, because for him, for Caruso, diving for that ball gets your team an extra possession that they don't get. You know, running back on defense to try to discourage a fast break, that gives your team an opportunity to get set up defensively, whereas they can just get an easy bucket if he wasn't there.
But when you got players that's like, see, this will separate great from good, because a guy like Caruso running back on defense means nothing against poised great players. That means nothing. You can run back on defense all you want. You're not stopping nothing.
Right, but Caruso does have enough defense in his bag to where they won't go 9 for 9 in the same situation. Like they would finish at a high percentage. Like it'll be more like a 7 or 9, but those two that they don't cash the check on could be all that team needs in order to be up 2 or be up 4 or be down 2, be down 4 versus being down 10.
Yeah, all I'm saying is a guy like Caruso is not spooky.
No, he doesn't spook you, but if you ain't like that kind of guy, you need to have somebody else on your team that can equal out his, because he can't be the only guy out there diving for loose balls.
No.
So if you're not getting it from Kyrie, if you're not getting it from Luka, you ain't getting it from Klay Thompson. Who are you gonna get it from? It has to come from a guy like Gafford. It has to come from a guy like PJ Washington.
So pretty much the Giddey trade for Caruso was a good trade then, because Giddey don't do all that.
Theoretically, it sounds like a good trade in that sense. This is where it sounds like a bad trade to me. When you was just talking about, if they stop Shea from doing what he wants, what's the counterpoint? What's the best? Giddey gave that team a window of a counterpunch to get everybody else there, because Giddey, like I said, he's a master. Well, he's a jack of all trades, but he's a master of none. Like, he's not no deadly scorer. He's not no deadly passer, but he knows how to do all of those things to where it's like, okay, you got somewhat of a floor general out here to where, okay, this ain't working, but he knows where everybody's at and he knows where to get them the ball.
Right.
So not having Giddey there, that's where this looks like a bad trade, because, yeah, it sounds like an upgrade defensively, but you took you downgraded on the offensive side of the ball. Yeah. So now you're going to be more isolation reliant.
Yeah, but that's why I go to say where sometimes you can't, having the more talent always means sometimes you got to take away something to gain something. Because Denver, they had Jeremy Grant. At they 3 or 4? 3? Was either 3 or 4?
He was the.
He played both.
He was the. I want to say he was the 3.
Would you say they lost?
He was
something?
the 3 because Aaron Gordon was the 4.
Would you say they lost something by trading? Did he get traded or did he sign in Detroit?
I think
I think there was a trade.
It doesn't matter because.
Would you say they lost something losing him?
They lost that depth of athletic ability.
Right.
But they didn't lose skill like that. Not in my opinion, because they just slid not Otto Porter, but Michael Porter Jr. They just slid him to the starting 3.
So you wouldn't say OKC made like the same style move?
No, because Oklahoma City, they got a guy who's like, he can knock down an open shot, yes, but like Alex Caruso, he's not no young player. He's not no young player.
He's a hustle player. And he still hustles.
Right. But what I'm saying is, Alex Caruso can be viewed like a temporary piece, whereas Michael Porter Jr. was viewed as this is our long-term guy.
Right.
This is a long-term guy for us. So to trade away somebody to get replaced by a long-term guy versus just to get replaced by a temporary piece, because they really just seeing how this gonna work. If this doesn't work, then they gonna look back at that trade and they gonna scratch their head and they gonna be like, yo, we messed up.
I guess so. I mean, I just, when it comes to the Thunder, I gotta see first, man. I gotta see, because I think that I feel like they got the tools to win a championship.
I don't think so. I mean,
Why?
I know because
They one of the deepest teams of the West.
That's fine and dandy. But when you look at they one superstar and you compare him to other one superstars in this league, Shea really, to me, he's not in the same air as those guys.
Who?
Shea.
Same air as who?
He's not in the same air as the Luka Doncic's. He's not in the same air of even the Jason Tatum. He's not in the same air as those guys.
He's not in the same air?
No. I don't think he's in the same air as those guys. Talent-wise. Like what he's capable of doing. Because when you look at Shea, do you think he's a deadly shooter?
I don't think Jason Tatum is a deadly shooter.
He's a deadly shooter.
I don't think Jaylen Brown is a deadly shooter.
No, when they I'm not talking about Jaylen Brown. Jason Tatum, when he's on.
Deadly?
Yes, he's deadly. He's deadly. He's deadly when he's on. That's the whole
That's
problem
not
with
deadly. If you got to worry about when he's on or off.
This is the same thing that we say about everybody. Like, okay, Kobe was only deadly when he's on.
This is the thing.
Kobe's only deadly when he's on.
There's only a few dudes that you look at, honestly, that's like scare you when it comes to shooting, whether they're on or off. A guy like Steph Curry, you got to stay like, hey, you know what I mean? A guy like even Klay Thompson,
I'm not just talking I'm not just talking about just shooting, but like when you look at their overall skill sets, okay? Tatum can knock down that shot, whether you don't like him or you don't like him.
It ain't about liking him, it's about sticking him. You can stick him and he's not gonna hit it all like Jason Tatum. He's nice. Jason Tatum is nice.
His skill set right now. His skill set. He should be an unguardable specimen.
He should be, but he's not. Jason Tatum,
and it's not because of his skill set. It's because of what's in his chest.
Whatever it is, like Jason Tatum. See, this.
It's like how we talk about Brandon Ingram.
This is the problem with today's game, when you have to kind of extract things from dudes and try to force them in certain spots. Jason Tatum, in all actuality, is a tier 2 guy. He's not no tier 1 dude. You don't put him in the same breath as a Tracy McGrady or Kobe Bryant and none of that.
No.
But
the same
he's a
thing
tier 2 dude.
But the same thing that we say about all of those dudes, when it comes to shooting, when they are on, they are deadly.
T-Mac was scary when he came up the court regardless.
Yes, but
Jason Tatum don't put that same fear in you. Man.
No, but what I'm saying is, for his skill set, the total package of what he brings to the table, what he's capable of bringing to the table.
Can we be honest here, please? There are certain dudes that when they get the rock, they put fear in you straight up. You know what I'm saying? Point blank period.
I understand, but
would you say Jason Tatum is not a product of just having a deep team? He has a deep team.
Well, I mean, look, I'm not going to say that he's just a product of having a deep team. I'm going to say that Jason Tatum he needs to get out of his own way.
You take Jaylen Brown off that team, where is they? With Jason Tatum just being there, without that help.
They still in the playoffs.
No, how far do they get though?
In this league, they probably second round. Probably.
Because Jason Tatum is too much evidence in him.
But that's part of the problem. Jason Tatum hasn't been put on a team where it's demanded on him game in, game out.
Maybe what you see is what you get with Jason Tatum, just like Brandon Ingram.
But this is true. But what could also be true is being surrounded by all that talent can for some of these players, being surrounded with all this help, you're not as obligated to show up for work every night.
Man, listen, dog. Jason Tatum, from what I've seen from this guy, yeah, he a star. He is. Not gonna say he not, but there's You have to prove certain things to be in the likes of a Kobe, even a T-Mac. You can say Dwayne Wade.
Who's the tier 1 stars in this league right now?
I don't see many,
just to get back.
If you want to be honest.
I'm not trying to compare them to the past. I'm stay in this league.
There's certain tier 1s, period, dude. Like, there ain't no...
Tier one players
the
in
reason,
this league.
I'm about to answer it now, but the thing is...
Nikola Jokic.
The reason, I guess Jokic, he's one. Luka Doncic is one.
Okay. And then, does it stop there?
Go keep going. You saying who the tier 1s? I mean, Luka's one. Would you say Kyrie is still? No? Yes?
He's capable of being it, but once
Would
again...
you say he is, yes or no? Right now, or is he just a number 2 guy, like you always? Or is he tier 2? I mean, Kyrie still scare people, but...
But scare people... You can only get by with empty threats for so long.
Fam, at the end of the day, Jason Tatum is not that guy. He's not.
No,
Jason Tatum is not that guy.
What I'm saying is this. When he's on, he's in that air.
That's anybody.
No, that's not anybody. Because I could care less what you say about whoever. Look.
It ain't about what I say, it's what it is. You even said yourself Jason Tatum ain't like that. Now you saying he is?
No, what I'm saying is when his shot is on, he is a deadly shooter from the perimeter. That was my original point.
I ain't never heard you say he was deadly before, ever. I ain't never heard you say that, not one time.
Well,
you talked about how bad of a shooter he is, actually.
No, what I said, you gotta stop doing this.
Man,
Stop putting words in people's mouth.
I'm not putting words in nobody's mouth, man.
All I said was that Jason
You was the
Tatum,
same guy who said the Celtics wasn't gonna win a championship due to him. You said this.
Yes, I didn't believe in him. But like I said, in the same token, two things can be right at the same time. Jason Tatum has had games where he's went, perfect from 3-point range.
Stars do that. Is he a superstar to you? If you say he is, he is.
I'm not saying that he's a superstar.
I'm asking, is he a superstar?
His skill set says that he could be a tier 1 guy. If he was more consistent, he would be a tier 1 guy.
But he's not.
Easily.
But he's not.
But like I said, when you get the best of Luka, and if you was to get the best of Jason Tatum, who gives you more in the game? Can you answer that question, honestly? Because we both sat here and said that Luka is clearly a tier 1 guy. So if you get the best...
Luka don't play defense. You said Tatum plays defense.
Yes.
So technically, by the letter of law, Tatum does.
Yeah, because Tatum...
Because he plays defense.
He plays defense and he rebounds the ball well. He's capable of doing that when you get the best version of him. When you get the best version of Jason Tatum, and you put him on the floor with the best version of all the tier 1 guards or stars that we got in this league, he belongs in that area. That's my point.
So you basically saying he could be as good as Grant Hill?
I ain't saying Grant Hill.
Because Grant Hill could play.
I'm staying in this era.
Listen, these dudes exist. They exist.
I'm not going to the past. I'm not judging these dudes by the past because, like we said before, a whole lot of these dudes wouldn't exist in the past.
But I'm not going to judge them by the past. It needs to. This is the thing. There's record books. Mm-hmm. There's things like that. They're constantly being compared to their contemporaries or people from the past. It is what it is.
But that's not what I'm doing.
You know what I'm saying?
I know better than to do that.
You know what I mean?
I know better than to do that.
But the fact of the matter is, if you feel like Jason Tatum, I mean, this is what it is.
I feel like when Jason Tatum is on, he's just as scary as any of those stars in this league.
That's cool.
And that's all he needs to be compared to is the stars that he's playing against. He doesn't need to be compared to the guys of the past because we know what would happen to him with the guys in the past.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing you said about Jokic.
Yes, same thing with Jokic. We know what would happen to them if they played against the guys in the past. Mm-hmm. But we're not, as far as winning today in this league, they only need to worry about the guys that they playing in this league. Yeah,
well, it is what it is, I guess. Because naturally, whether you do it or not, when folks sit there and mention folks as the greatest or this is the coldest dude ever,
right?
Then there's no choice but to bring. Are you sure about that? Because that's not facts.
Well, I mean, who said they was the greatest ever? Who?
Man, I'm just saying, folks do it. I mean,
yeah, but we ain't folks. We ain't folks.
Josh, man, he be killing me, man.
You be killing yourself because you like to create narratives that never even existed.
Nah, he don't want to compare folks to the past, which it happens naturally. You can't get away from it, dog. You can't get away from it. There's no clean slate ever. You know what I'm saying? There's no clean slate.
The only reason why I'm not wasting my time, I'm not wasting my time doing it because I already know what the answer is.
If that was the case, there wouldn't be banners hanging up in arenas. There wouldn't be retired numbers. There wouldn't be none of that.
No, the franchise is the franchise, but not the individual player.
There wouldn't be no basketball Hall of Fame or anything. There wouldn't be.
There's the difference when you're talking about franchise and when you're just talking about an individual player.
They should take records out the game then, if that's the case. You know what I'm saying?
There's a difference when you're talking about franchise and then when you're talking about an individual player.
I said records. Records have nothing to do with franchises, only in some parts.
But you was talking about, you're going to automatically compare the players to the past.
I mean, it's going to happen. That's just what it is.
I'm not, because based on my eyes, I have no reason to compare them to the past.
That's fine, but
I don't need to.
So Jason Tatum, he one of the best players in the league right now. He's right next to Jokic to you. Is he?
Skill-wise, when he shows up to be his potential, he can be in that conversation with the best players in this league.
All right.
He could be in the conversation. I mean, even look, Giannis, as weak as skilled as he is, but he's consistently ramming his way through the court, getting 30 rebounds and 30 points plus 15 rebounds.
I mean, I think it's clear right now with the Bucks, this position they're in, his lack of skill, not being able to shoot and only knowing how to do one thing.
Right.
I think people caught on to that.
Right. But yet he's still doing the same thing to this day.
And the Bucks is where they at.
Yes.
So Giannis is where I thought he was.
Right, yes.
So it is what it is. And they lost depth.
Right.
So the reason why where they at, the fact that he has not improved yet, and they lost depth. You know what I'm saying? So if Jason Tatum don't get some heart and be more consistent, the minute they start losing players, they're going to drop.
Yes, of course. And
that's all I'm saying here.
And that was never the point. That was never the point. This is why I'm saying you bring in stuff that was never the conversation.
What do you mean?
That was never the point being made here. We are not in disagreement.
We can't compare to the past.
No. I said I'm not. You can. I'm not.
You don't have to do anything, Josh. But Josh doesn't compare to the past, even though there's records here that state that.
I'm not going to compare him to the past because I don't believe in him.
Do you believe in him or you don't, man?
I said I don't.
All
I said is that if he shows up and is the best version that he's capable of being.
How often is that? Because who got the finals MVP?
Jaylen Brown, the guy that can't go left.
Jason Tatum he got skills, but Brandon Ingram, like you said, Brandon Ingram got skills. He's not.
If he was to show to be the best version that he's capable of being, you don't think that he can be in the same air as all of them?
He was pegged to be Durant 2.0.
So
he's not that.
So that means that
there's a lot of dudes that it's been shown.
Now I say this, even though Tatum is inconsistent, he's more consistent than him.
I'm not saying he's not. But listen, I'd rather take Tatum over Ingram.
Yes.
Ingram, honestly, could be one of the most dominant players in the game. Mm-hmm. But he's shown consistently that I don't know if he liked the hoop. You know what I'm saying?
He just doesn't like it.
I've lost all faith in Brandon Ingram. All right? He got all the ability in the world, honestly.
That's like Embiid.
Same thing with him. These are a lot. This is the whole league now.
Yeah, the whole entire league.
So the reason why the NBA sucks, and listen, at the end of the day, the reason why the NBA sucks now and no one watches it is because of the product of the past and now. Right. So it has to be compared because that's the only thing to compare it to. The product of the past was a lot better than the product now.
Well, once again, going back to my original point, because the product of the past doesn't have to have anything to do with my original point. When we talk about the stars in this league today.
And it's hard to find them.
There's no need to bring up the past because they're not playing today.
Yeah.
We already know what they done. They solidified. They stories written, Hall of Fame jackets and all of that.
Yeah.
But these guys today, they haven't finished their story, and they might not even scratch the surface of what some of those guys do.
Well, the writing of the story isn't interesting at all. So it's a bad story being written.
Look, it is what it is. The players play in the league that they play in. So when you got the best player in the league being the best two players in the league being two guys that don't play no kind of defense, then why can't a Jason Tatum be in the same air as them when he shows up to play?
I guess he is. You know what I'm saying? What do I know?
It's just one of those. Now, yes, Luka is a cold-blooded dude. He's a cold-blooded dude. But he also don't play defense. And sometimes he comes off as being a whiny crybaby crying to the refs.
He's been doing that his whole career.
Yes, his whole career. Now,
But Luka has shown he got it in his chest when necessary. Now, did they win the finals? No, but Luka has way more cold-blooded moments than Tatum got.
this is true. I ain't arguing that. Trae Young got more cold-blooded moments.
Trae Young, nice, but he don't got the team. He's undersized guard. He need a team.
Right.
He don't have the team needed. If he had the pieces, that's one guy I feel like if he had the pieces, I think he just don't have the, he needs a team. You cannot be an undersized guard in this league and not be surrounded by goons and other cats that can help you. You're not gonna win like that.
I mean, well, he kind of showed that he don't need them serious goons. He just needs some solid players that can be consistent at their role.
You can only get so far.
Because DeAndre Hunter ain't no goon. John Collins ain't no goon.
Yeah, you only got so far with that. You still need to get over the hump.
Well, I mean, yeah, but he got hurt too. So that,
you know what I'm saying?
that played a factor into that equation. Because
you still need more. You can only get so far with certain things. You know what I mean? You can only get so far with certain things.
Right.
And that's just the reality of the situation. You can only, if you had one cold guy, you can only get so far. You're going to eventually need those guys to step up and do other things.
Right.
Because you one guy. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, well, that's because of the way the league is. I mean, because when you got multiple stars on one team and you one star, you're going to need heavier weights, superstar capable guys, star capable performance guys to be on your squad. Because we all know Kristaps Porzingis, if he's healthy, he's capable.
Yeah, he's capable.
He's capable of doing this. But just because he's not healthy, we can't rely on this guy. But that's part of the reason why Boston didn't play him throughout the whole playoffs. They's like, look, we just need you for the finals. We don't need you to beat these other teams. We need you for the finals.
Yeah.
And when he was healthy enough and he came into the finals, he did more than show up. He showed out. He showed out more than the tier one dudes that we talking about. Luka Doncic and Kyrie, he had more of an impact on that series than both of them two. And you could probably even say he had more of an impact on that series than them two combined. Because that's how bad they played.
I don't got nothing for that. The leagues and the states in for a reason. It is what it is. When you scraping for stars like this and the names being mentioned, that lets you know what's up.
We both agree on that. We both agree on that. That's why I don't know why. But it is what it is. It is what it is. But when I look at Shea, the point that I'm making, when I look at Shea, and when I say the best version of Shea, and I compare him to the best version of a Kyrie, to the best version of a Luka, to the best version of even the Jason Tatum. If I compare him to the best version of a Trae Young, the best version of a Jalen Brunson, the best version of a Tyrese Halliburton, the best version of a De'Aaron Fox, the best version of Nikola Jokic. He loses all of those battles. if you go best version for best version. Now, consistently, he's more consistent than just maybe Tatum at being all right and good. But my thing is, okay, you're going to eventually need to take another step in your skill level in order for you to be mentioned in that air with them, in my personal opinion. That's why I said I think Shea, while he's cold, I don't think he's cold enough yet. Like, I still think he needs to add more to his bags to what he's capable of doing.
The most talented teams don't always win either.
No. A whole lot of times it's the team that shows up for work. Right.
So I hear you, but if he taking care of business and his team taking care of business, it's really about them X's and O's and who executing. They ain't really about the talent at that point. We've seen this too many times when it comes to talent. You know what I'm saying? Like Shea, yeah, every player can get better at something. That's not no
right.
Every player can get better at something, right? But is the Thunder an easy win? If you see the Thunder in the finals, are you like, oh yeah, we got this?
No.
Easily? No. You gotta,
because they team
it's too deep. You gotta play them every night, otherwise you will lose.
Right, yeah. And so when I compare that, I still don't think they can beat Dallas in the series.
They shouldn't be able to beat Dallas in the series. There's too much experience over there. Besides, they two big men, which got some experience getting far in the playoffs.
And not just experience, but best on best.
They should. But see, now that's where mentality comes in, because see, even though you should win, you should not look at them as like, oh, we should beat them. No, you better take them serious, because they're deep enough to run you off the floor if you don't. Because momentum is a real thing.
Right.
So if you looking at a team like that, like, oh, y'all ain't really laid like that, or Shea, you don't got enough in your bag. Next thing you know, the score is 30-15, and they got momentum. And now you got to try to play catch up.
Well, that's where that's where Dallas, I don't think Dallas would play around and take them lightly because of what they just been through with them last year. I don't think Dallas would play around and take them lightly. I think Dallas would use all the knowledge that they gained from last year's series, and be like, we know exactly what we're dealing with here.
Yeah, any deep team you don't play with, I don't care what the talent look like, because you can lose, you know what I'm saying? Easily.
Especially having Klay Thompson there and adding Dinwiddie to that. They got a big man rotation there. They got Maxi Kleber back, who's a big man shooter for them.
Yeah.
You know, they got the pieces to where it's like their depth matches each other.
You don't screw around with a team with depth. You don't do that, because you will end up playing yourself doing some mess like that, just because they may not look, or they may not be. I've seen it happen in all type of competitions. It don't even matter. You know what I'm saying? Just like in boxing, it's a puncher's fight. You punch his chance. You play around with this dude, you can get laid out. And now you looking crazy at the end, you know, but you got more skill. You got to take every game serious. If players in today's game, as Josh say, took their craft serious and played hard all the time, we have a different product.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But since that's not the case, this is what it is.
Absolutely. This been the league for such a long time. And hey, they made the bed that they gotta fix if they care.
This is the worst batch of stars I've ever seen. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Which is part of the reason why Luka and Jokic is 3 and 4 on that list after Nowitzki and Larry Bird.
This is the worst batch of superstars in basketball I've ever seen. You could take this all the way back to the 70s, the 80s, and all that.
Right.
This is the worst batch.
Right.
Period. I don't know if anybody can, I mean, this is my opinion, but I don't know if it is an opinion. Because these cats.
It's an opinion.
You know what I'm saying?
It's an opinion, because I feel the same way. This is the worst batch, because everybody, the superstars down to the role players, even down to the coaching, this is the worst that the league has ever been.
Right. And they get paid the most. So that's crazy. You know what I mean?
Right.
But this the thing, at the end of the day, the All-Star weekend and took a dump. One of the worst. It's almost Pro Bowl level.
Yeah.
If you want to even cut it like that, the dunk contest used to be something that everybody want to go watch. They don't want to watch that no more. It's bad.
Right.
I mean, the only thing it's worth looking at, I guess you want to say, is the skills challenge and maybe the 3-point contest, maybe. Those are the only two things. That's it. Outside of that, everything else is bad.
Well, the players don't take that serious. The players don't take it serious.
You keep changing the rules every year. That tells you what's going on. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to remix. It's bad. It's a bad event. And it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah, it's terrible.
All right?
It's terrible.
You tune in and watch the games. You see people not playing hard. There's no excuse for that. You see people not playing hard.
Right.
Right? So, and I think a lot of that got to do with gambling, being obviously openly out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I hear things about folks doing certain things for parlays to hit. You know what I'm saying? Little stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's a soft league, man. It's not the same no more. The practice habits different.
They don't love the game.
It's a big list of things. You know what I'm saying?
They don't love the game.
It's not really worth watching like that. It's bad to watch. You tune in. You see when you can visually tell when teams quit.
Right.
What's up, brother?
What's going on, man?
What's going on? What's happening?
Much love.
Yeah.
All right, then.
You visually see when teams quit. So,
yeah.
Folks don't like, I mean, listen, everything at the end of the day get compared. You know, you turn on the radio. First thing a person say, man, this music is terrible. It don't sound like the stuff I used to listen to.
Right.
You know what I mean? You turn on the game of basketball. Man, this is terrible. It's not the stuff I used to watch.
Right. I mean, that's kind of sports wide.
Would you say that about the NFL?
Yeah, most definitely. It's a quarterback's league, passing league, trying to be a high-scoring league.
Right. So,
I mean, and the NBA is taking the same formula.
Right.
They trying to take defense out the game and just make it an offensive show. Hence, that's not saying that not saying that certain players wouldn't be still good or even great in past era rules. But when you make it easy on players, you open the door for laziness.
This is the thing. This is the big problem the NBA has. You know, people don't stick at what they're good at. It's really that simple. People don't stick to what they're good at. And what they're with everybody can't shoot threes, man. Everybody can't be Steph Curry. This is the thing. When you had this scheme different for different teams, different strategies for different teams in the golden era. You didn't play no team the same. You play everybody the same now, it seems. You know what I'm saying? No paint play. Why is a 7'1", 250-pound guy playing in the perimeter? Why is that? What are you doing?
And that's part of the reason why I said it's a coaching thing too, because they don't teach them to go down there.
You know,
or they don't demand of them to go down.
There are some teams that like, okay, it should be teams in leagues where like, hey, they deadly in the paint. We have to find a way to stop these dudes. You want them to shoot. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's teams like, man, you want them to shoot. Or there should be teams like, hey, they good at everything. So we got to be locked in.
And it's funny because that's what Joel Embiid used to be. Joel Embiid used to be the center that he was playing down low and he would get all your centers in foul trouble. All the top centers would be in foul trouble.
Right.
And now he's not even close to being there.
Right.
He doesn't want to do that.
Exactly. There's these young teams. You should be worried playing these young teams because they should be running, flying up and down the court now and stop running you out the gym. Even if they're not good at shooting or anything, they just running you up and down the court nonstop, not move. That right there alone can win you a game, just off straight effort.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Running you out the building.
Right.
Because you that fatigued. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
So-
straight up. So,
And that's where, you know, like I said, coaching has went down. Now, whether or not that means the coaches are doing what they're being told to do or doing what they want to be done.
we all know what's up with that. You know what I'm saying? Even when looking at the LA thing, we know what that is. Clearly, you know what I'm saying? It's obvious. There ain't no reason to even dive in that. We know everything rings different from different franchises.
Right.
But, you know, the scariest teams to deal with should be these young teams. Because they should be non-stop at all times. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Slashing, cutting,
You're
playing
right.
physical defense, all that. They should be, man, listen, man.
But that's where teams that, like, okay, so Chauncey said this, right? Chauncey said this when they was talking about them fast teams that was in the league during then.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, you can play fast, but when we slow you down,
Yeah.
because he controlled the pace of the game.
Mm-hmm.
When we slow you down, meaning we gonna walk this ball up the court, we gonna run our offense, and we gonna get back on defense and get set to where you can't run. When we slow you down, then what are you? And look, young team or not, even in this league, nobody really wants to slow the game down and play a half-court style of ball. Mm-hmm. Everybody is trying to run up and down the court, shoot as many shots. I keep hearing that come out whenever I do watch basketball. Shoot as many shots as you possibly can shoot. They call like the whole. Okay, so one of the smartest things I heard was the whole narrative, the whole theory about the 2-for-1. You just jack up a shot just to get a 2-for-1 opportunity.
I've never agreed with that theory, but whatever.
But like it was actually on that podcast, but Bron said, what's the point of doing the 2-for-1 if the first shot you make is just gonna be a dumb shot?
Yeah, I don't agree with 2-for-1s. I never agree with 2-for-1.
Right. 2-for-1 only makes sense if you got a good shot in that situation.
Yeah, I never agree with that. I never agree with 2-for-1s. I never will. But I mean, if you're able to get one, you're able to get one. But
right.
I'm not trying to force one.
You don't just jack up a shot,
no,
hoping that it falls, and then you hope you get a stop and hope you get the rebound.
No, I'm not with that.
No,
just like the miss. Now the missed free throw at the end. That I guess makes sense. Like if there ain't no, like, you know what I'm talking about.
You missed a free throw on purpose to try to get a rebound.
That depends.
Luka did that last year to the Knicks.
That depends, though. Now, if you got a chance to tie it, get the tie and go to overtime.
Right.
Do that. You know what I'm saying? But
that was a situation where they were down more than what the free throw points would have given.
See, that makes sense, right? But, you know, there's certain things that make sense for certain situations. But as far as with the young team thing, an older team, you see a young athletic team like the Clippers. I know you remember them, Lamar Odom and Darius Miles and them.
Yeah.
They was a headache to deal with. They was a headache. And you had to, even though you stopped them, you had to work to stop them. You know what I'm saying? Right. It wasn't an easy win because they young and athletic. You know what I'm saying? These dudes now just, I don't know. They all try to gun shots. That's not, teams are not forced to play defense. Because it's the thing, if you attack the paint, you have no choice but to play defense. You have to play defense. You would think. If you're just shooting threes, you ain't got to play defense. You would think. But players in this era, they feel like, you know, they feel like defense is optional. It's not optional. Or like they don't, like, the only player in the league, and he really doesn't have an excuse, but I'm just giving him one because of age,
But the only player that should be getting blown by in this league is really LeBron James because of being 40. But outside of that, nobody in this league should just be giving up blow-bys on a regular basis.
I mean, LeBron just he playing for no reason right now. At the end of the day, like Brian, honestly, when it comes to Brian, he just playing to see how long he can go, it seems. But he already solidified like everything. Everything is solidified for him. But the thing is, if I'm a coach right now and I got a team, look, man, we in the paint all day. We in the paint all day because these cats are so bad at shooting threes.
It's not just that. Even the freebies. Like, how many times you see a guy go to the free throw line and he 1 for 2 or 0 for 2?
They don't practice. They don't practice. Bad practice habits and everything. But
now, given some players in the past, they never practiced free throws too. And
there was a lot of terrible free throw shooters back then. We're not going to even... The bigs was notoriously known for being bad at free throws. So it's not... But the thing is, though, the defense is so terrible, I don't see how you can... Listen, man, like when I watch the game and I look at so many open lanes, so much weak in the paint defense, dog, all we need to do, drive, paint play, perimeter game, we win and play defense. These cats scared to play defense. They shoot terribly behind the arc. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, listen, I don't think people understand. A guy like Steph Curry, he's an older guy. He practices that.
Right.
He practices shooting like that.
Right.
These dudes don't do that. I can say Trae Young probably practiced that.
Which is, I mean, to be honest, that's a problem in itself, if you ask me. The fact that he's practicing to shoot such long-range shots, that's technically, that's a normal bad thing to practice.
Yeah, but there's always anomalies. There's always anomalies to certain dudes. It's always that, but that's not for the majority.
Right.
Everybody's not Steph Curry, man.
No.
He's been doing this for years, shooting like this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That don't mean that's you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That don't mean that.
Right.
Just because he's doing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just straight like that. You know what I mean? There's certain, just like every quarterback shouldn't be trying to scramble.
Oh, no. Every quarterback shouldn't be trying to scramble, and every quarterback shouldn't be trying to throw on the run.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? There's reasons why they call, you gotta learn the basics first before you start trying to do the advanced stuff. You know what I'm saying? These cats try to start with the advanced stuff before learning the basics. It makes absolutely no sense.
Right.
It makes absolutely no sense. See, how you learn how to shoot for real is you start under the basket. Then you work your way back.
You work your way back.
You don't start from back there and then work your way forward.
Right.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but this league has players. So this is where maybe players, like, the video game has messed up players too, because players playing 2K, majority of people that play 2K, they only looking to shoot a 3 or they trying to dunk on somebody. They don't want to do a mid-range though.
They've been trying to stop the mid-range game. They used to say that was the worst shot in the league.
Right, but
the low percentage shot or whatever the case is.
Whatever the case they want to say. But when you look at the NBA today, it's like you see players, like, it's like that spot on the floor is there for nothing. Like, there's so many times when I've seen where players get by the defender on the perimeter, have all of this open space in the mid-range, there's a defender sitting right there in the paint waiting for them. And they rather go try to drive on them and make some kind of freaky layup, draw a foul, or dunk on them.
Well, you know why? They don't practice the mid-range.
Exactly.
You have to practice all that. Like, if you want to call yourself an offensive player, you're supposed to work on all aspects of offense. All of them. Not this one. There's mid-range drills, layup drills,
Right.
post drills,
Right.
all that. It's not just one part. So if you want to call yourself an offensive guy, you got to work on all aspects of offense.
Right.
And the mid-range, if the mid-range is open, you're supposed to shoot that.
Right.
Period. It is what, period. That should not be open like that.
Right.
Why you think Michael Jordan was so cold there? Kobe was so cold there. T-Mac was cold there. Wade was cold there. You don't just leave that open. DeMar DeRozan's cold there. Rip Hamilton, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Kevin Garnett and them, cold there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sam Cassell, cold there.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just one of those things.
You should not be able to make a three and not be able to shoot a mid-range. That don't even make sense.
It doesn't.
Like, because Ray Allen, cold at the mid-range. You don't want to leave Ray Allen at the mid-range.
Or make a three and not be able to make free throws.
You know what I'm saying? Usually, if you shoot threes, you like over 90% at the free throw line.
Should be.
Over 90.
Should be.
You're not missing no free throw.
Should be.
You shouldn't even be setting up for a rebound if you see a three-point shooter at the line.
Right, yeah. You should chalk it up and count it as
Like, yep, this
going
is
in
two.
there.
It is what it is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But it's the
practice. Listen, folks. Listen, the game is screwed up. Whether folks see, this is the thing, and I ain't talking about you here, folks. I understand this is what's out now, and you want to protect what's out now. But at the end of the day, that don't change the fact it's done wrong.
Right.
It's done wrong. A lot of things is done wrong, the wrong way, and the product shows it. Period. You know what I'm saying? You can't dress it up. It is what it is. Because if that wasn't the case, folks would be lined up to watch basketball or want to tune in. Don't nobody want to tune in. Because they watch it like, this is terrible. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah. So
it's what it is. Folks can
and you know what,
give a million excuses.
The bad part about it is college don't give you no help of a turnaround.
Well, this the thing with college, right? The college been a problem. This is before the league turned bad. You know what I'm saying? College, they don't have the 3-year requirement rule.
Right. That's problem number one.
That needs, because in order for college to be taken serious like college football, they got that 3-year rule. You know what I'm saying? You have to play 3 years minimum.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the only way to get talent. Has to go to these schools. If they don't go to the schools, if they come in straight out of either high school or going straight to the D League, which I'm not mad at. If you want to go to the G League, get paid, you know what I'm saying, do what you do, or go overseas, I'm not knocking that. But since they got this NIL stuff, that should help college basketball, you would think. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're not able to get drafted in the first 2 rounds, but if you get a couple million to go here and play 3-4 years, that should help the school. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know how that work with basketball, because there's way more basketball teams than football in it.
There's actually, well, if you're talking pros,
like college.
If you're talking pros, basketball and football for college.
Yeah, there's a lot of college basketball teams.
Yeah, there is a lot of college. There's a lot of college football teams too, small schools. The biggest difference is when it comes like to that playoff season or whatnot. So like college basketball, they got March Madness.
Yeah.
And that's 64 teams.
Right.
64 teams. 64 teams have the potential to win a championship because they in that bracket. Whereas in football, this is going to be the first year for it. They're going to have 12 teams.
Do you agree with 12? Do you like that? Do you like the playoff format?
I do like the playoff format because I don't like the committee being able to just vote whoever they feel and say, okay, this is our national championship because this is how we feel.
But don't it still be funny business with who get in the playoffs?
It can still be that, but for the most part, you're gonna get it right because the only teams that you're gonna be arguing about is the teams because
I know your Florida team didn't get there, and they should have been.
Well, that was last year.
Yeah.
Last year, and that's where the voters doing this, they could be wrong, and they could be wrong about something for the wrong reasons. Because you never know who's going to show up. Given, yes, injuries can impact any team.
Yeah.
But for them, injuries impacted what they felt would be a show. They wanted to put on a show. They wanted the best show. So that injury that my team suffered, unfortunately, cost them an appearance in the playoff, even though their record said that they should have been.
Right. So it's still bogus, point blank, period. No matter the reason.
Right.
They deserve to be there.
Right. So, yes, you still going to have that happens, but for the most part, when you have 12 slots, you should get 10 of those right. You should get 10 of those right. The other two teams that's going to fall in that playoff, those are most likely teams that nobody views as having a shot at winning the championship anyway. They just filler teams.
Right, but with single elimination, anything can happen.
Yes, with single elimination, anything.
That's why March Madness
it's always must-see basketball games in the March Madness.
Single elimination is the best format of playoffs, period.
Right, and it makes everybody be. Now, the only thing that's wrong with the March Madness, if they really wanted the maximum viewership, they would have all the games be prime time when folks is off work. Because they be having games going on throughout the day,
in the morning,
and
all
stuff
that.
that. So that's the only issue with their format.
When you got 60-something teams, you got to get through it at a certain time.
Yeah. So they got games every day. That's why they call it March Madness.
The first step to fix college basketball is they should have to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you had the top star, then you can really filter out who like that for real, too. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and then you can know better about. Then for NBA teams, you can know better about whether or not I should draft this dude first overall.
Because
should I have drafted a Ben Simmons first overall? Should I have drafted Blake Griffin first overall?
Because personally, I always felt like in football, they always had, to me, the better
draft classes.
Because they had time in college and you could really scout.
There's so many good things that come from that.
Yeah.
There's so many good things that come from that. The only way that it will be looked at as from a negative standpoint is if the player is either worried about injuries or worried about his stock going down because he has a bad year.
Yeah, but that's on you though.
Exactly.
That ain't on nobody else, because it's like a con job. If you only have one good year,
right,
then you get, you know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
Because now you showing a lack of consistency. So now I can look at that like you're not consistent like that.
Right.
So
or not even that. Say you had a really good year, and then the next year you do the same exact thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, well, you didn't improve.
That's what I'm saying. So you could really
same perfect example. Zion Williamson. Even when healthy, he's still the same player that he was in high school.
You know the crazy part about Zion Williamson? I don't think it was you. I got into an argument about Zion Williamson. Folks talking about I'm hating and all this. I'm like, dude, Zion Williamson, I'm trying to tell you from what I see from him. From high school to Duke, I've not seen nothing from him to tell me he gonna be a cold player in the league, because he has not developed no kind of a skill here. He just dunks and he's power. He's a big kid for his size. He don't shoot well. You gotta look at his jump shot. He don't jump. It's a weird shot. He got somewhat of a handle, but it ain't nothing crazy like that. It's all, if you take away his hops, what is he? Even if you apply that to college, because high school, when you bigger than everybody, the guys he was playing against, he should be able to go down low and do a little something with no hops. You know what I'm saying? But due to the fact he don't even have footwork like that, you take his knees from him, then what? Because let's say he has supreme footwork. Okay, cool, he don't got to dunk. He could be like Zach Randolph down there,
right,
with that size. He'd be just as deadly if not more, with footwork and nice back to the basket moves because of his power.
But that's part of the reason why I bring him up, because it's like this guy, he's the same player that he was in high school,
and he's lazy.
Nothing has changed. He's clearly shown that he lacks discipline.
He's lazy, man.
He lacks discipline, and I mean, well, even think about it from the perspective of even the foreign players. How much would that benefit even them?
What?
Because if foreign players had to show that kind of stuff for multiple years before they was draft eligible, maybe Nikola Jokic would have been a higher pick in the first round.
True that, but to be fair, foreign players do come in and play a better brand of basketball than our guys.
They play better fundamentals.
It's a better brand. You know what I'm saying? It may not look as good, you know what I'm saying, but it's clear they play a better brand.
Right.
It's quite obvious, you know what I'm saying? So
right.
It shouldn't be that way. Like, I think I told you, the two guys that should be the heads of the league right now is Ja Morant and Anthony Edwards. I'm not straying away from that. Right. Those two should be the heads. It should have been Ja, Anthony Edwards, and Zion. Them three should have been the guys of the league.
Mm-hmm. But it's all foreign players.
Yeah, but them the three. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's all foreign players.
But
which is, I mean, look. There's theories behind that too.
Do you think that's another reason why the league looking how it look? Because
the foreign players
being Nikola, listen, let's be honest. Nikola Jokic act like he hates basketball. You know what I'm saying?
According to some of our retired vets, the league was trying to open the door for European players.
But
because back when our guys was dominant, like not just good, dominant in this league, and it was a more physical league, they couldn't survive because they couldn't handle the physicality.
Right. So, do you feel like I'm gonna be real with you? Listen. I have no problem. I don't think a guy like Jokic should be the face of the NBA, or Luka Doncic should be the face of the NBA. I don't even think a guy like Giannis should be the face of the NBA.
No, I don't think they should be the face of the NBA neither. But that's just because, to me, I think it's a bad brand when you only advertise on one side of the ball.
Well, that too, but
that's why I didn't feel like Steph Curry should be the face of the league. But he was such an impactful play style. Everybody's trying to chuck threes and all this other stuff. So, and people easily fell in love with him, partially because of the hate for LeBron.
So do you feel like it's Steph Curry's fault the game like this? Or is it is it coach's fault for trying to implement this?
It's not his fault. He only gonna do what you allow him to get away with. And then the league, because they call it a copycat league, every team has the same personality.
So, and that's why I said earlier, it's not, you should be able to, it should be, a coach should have this strategize differently for each team. They should.
Right, but literally any coach in this league can have the same game plan for all 30 teams.
Would you say it's like that for football?
No. I mean, football is not what it used to be. But you can't have the same game. Like, okay, you can't go into a football game having the same game plan for Patrick Mahomes that you would have for Lamar Jackson.
Right.
You can't. You can't have the same game plan for the Minnesota Vikings that you would have for the, let's see, just give a random team to throw out there. You can't have the same game plan for the Minnesota Vikings that you would have for the Detroit Lions.
And that's my point. So
right.
You still gotta be. Basketball is terrible. It is what it is. I'm not about to say, and I love basketball, but I'm not. Basketball is terrible right now. It is what it is, man. Like, there's too many different type of style of guys. When you see a guy, like when I look at a player, right? I look at a guy like Ingram. You got super long arms, all that. You shouldn't even be in the perimeter. Like, you should be in the interior.
Right.
turnaround fade all the time. They shouldn't even be able to stop that.
Well, see, for him, it's not the fact of whether or not he can do that. It's the fact does he even want to.
That's what I'm saying. But there's a lot of, man, it's so many. When I look at basketball, I get frustrated because I look at certain builds of players and I look at a certain guy. Even when I look at a guy like Zion, I'm like,
my guy, Paolo.
huh?
Not a 3-point shooter, but I have no problem admitting that. But when it came to that mid-range area and his body frame and the way he's capable of playing, it's like, okay, if he plays that way, nobody in this league can guard him. Bron, all of them, make a list, however you want it.
Yeah.
But because this league is trying to force players to shoot threes, that's where he becomes guardable, because now you're trying to make him stay out there to shoot threes.
Yeah, like Paolo, he's I could see when I watched him, I could see some of the mellow in him. I could see it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not exactly like it's not phone booth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I could see it. I look at a guy like Zion. It bothers me because a guy that big and short, like, dude, he could be still a problem in the paint.
Right.
With that weight and size, and he could have a prolonged career if he wouldn't jump so much and really, okay, so if you're gonna be this big, I don't like it, but if you're gonna be this big, you need to lift weights, you know what I'm saying, and make that thing solid. You need to have 5-6 post moves. Your pump fake game should be official, and even on defense, you should be unmovable. You should be able to get into your base and they not move you. And you should be able to pluck that ball anytime they try to put it on the floor.
Right.
You know, there's things you can do.
Right.
But they don't do it. They don't want to do it. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of these guys, like I don't know why, but
it's frustrating.
I mean, we beating a dead horse here.
It's frustrating.
Because it's like, it's not going to change anytime soon.
Right. So
the unfortunate truth. It's not. I mean, like we was talking about it with the draft class. Who out of this draft class to you was like, oh yeah, that's the next guy coming into the. Now, yeah, we had high praise. We have high praise for Connect, and we have high praise for Reed Shepherd.
Well, Reed not getting clocked.
Do you think
he should get clocked right now? Well, we said he wasn't gonna get clocked anyway.
I mean, he's on a good team. He's on a good team.
Do you think they should fine business for him or no?
I mean, well, me personally, and this is just my personal opinion, I feel like you put yourself in a better position long term in the future giving him clock than giving Dylan Brooks clock.
Now, I think I said this before, the one that we messed up, but I know that I think around January, you can trade, because I think there's been guys who got drafted to teams who got traded by the deadline. Do you think there's teams that are going to be trying to throw offers in for him to try to get a shooter?
I don't think so because of the fact that they haven't seen nothing of him in the league yet, like actual game time and good shooting from him. I don't know if they will pull the trigger on that because teams only going to trade for what they see value in based on what they got to do. That's part of the reason why ain't nobody made no move for Imani Bates. Like, when you look at Imani Bates just not getting no, I mean, we all know, anybody that follows Imani Bates, people know he can hoop. Like, I don't know why, look, if you Washington, you should be beating the door. Look, let me try to get him.
If you Detroit.
Well, Detroit might not be so much this year because they actually looking like a play-in team, but still,
I'd be out of here for him.
Right. Yes, but what I'm saying is because he hasn't gotten much burn in NBA game time clock.
Is he even still for Cleveland?
I believe so.
Okay.
But because he hasn't gotten much NBA burn game time clock, teams ain't going to see the value in him because they like, okay, well, there's a reason why he's not playing.
Okay, we talked a little bit about this with Brian, right? We didn't capture it, but Brian with LA, Dalton Connect. I feel like because now this is some stuff that was going through the news today actually, or that I've seen that LeBron, he leaving the game for personal reasons or whatever the case is. Do you think that, would you be surprised, let's say, for instance, would you be surprised if he requested a trade or something? Or would you be surprised that happened?
LeBron?
Yeah, if he wanted to get traded or whatever the case is. Because I could see it being this.
My thing,
Go ahead.
my first question is, what's the point?
You go to Golden State, because that keeps floating around. It's been like 2 years now.
Okay, so my next question is, does LeBron going to Golden State make them contenders?
I don't think so, but they seem to think that. So
that, I mean, because that would be the ultimate question here. Because at the end of the now, would that system be easier for Bron?
absolutely.
Yes, he's surrounded with shooters. The thing that makes him the deadliest, because now you can't just clog up the paint no more. You can't just clog up the paint. He and LeBron being such the IQ that he got, he can go right into that system over there that they got, and he can have everybody over there. Because it's a difference when Draymond Green is running the offense than when LeBron is running the offense. Because LeBron is actually a real threat to score the ball still.
Right.
Even at 40.
Right. But
so, I mean, look, does that make them a contender? No. And unless they just going to live by the philosophy, we going to shoot teams out the gym. We going to shoot teams out the gym, which is what the Warriors been doing. For the most part, they shoot teams out the gym. You down by 5 in the first quarter. Then you down by 10 at the end of the half. Then you down by 15 at the end of the third. You know, they just walk them big leads up. And look.
Would you be opposed to trading Bron if you're LA?
That depends on what package I'm getting back. I mean, personally, like I said, I would
trade him.
My personal opinion, the number one problem with LA right now is D'Angelo Russell, as far as the roster is concerned. D'Angelo Russell, and then Anthony Davis.
You think he's a single-handed problem, or in age? Well, look, man,
there is no single-handed problem.
Like that team.
But when I say the biggest problem, I mean D'Angelo Russell is the first one. Because if they trade D'Angelo Russell and they happen to get a formidable point guard in that situation, or even say they don't get a point guard. Say they trade D'Angelo Russell and they get a real center on that team. That's a night and day different team now. Now, does that mean championship? I'm not saying all of that, but that's a night and day different team, and they could win a whole lot easier just by winning the rebound battle or protecting the paint.
Now, can it just be the fact that Lakers just isn't good? You know what I'm saying?
I personally still feel if they had all their pieces available and healthy, I still feel like that's a good enough team to make the playoffs, like they've been a good enough team to make the playoffs. Even without the play-in tournament, they've been a playoff team without if the play-in tournament didn't exist. Now, there's the thing is, when you talk about the Lakers and when you talk about LeBron, you're normally associating that with winning the championship. That's not happening with this team. This team is not good enough to win a championship. Partially because Anthony Davis is a here today, gone tomorrow kind of player.
Inconsistent, like we were talking about earlier.
Inconsistent. And then the second thing is you relying on a 40-year-old dude to still be what he was in his early 30s and 20s. I've seen this floating around.
Like listen, LeBron's not the same guy he used to be. It's just period. I wouldn't expect him to be though.
And
that's
look,
the thing.
My thing is, I wouldn't look to LeBron to still be that same version. Could he still play? Yes, but can LeBron be for any team in this league? LeBron needs to be at best the third option.
Yeah. At the end of the day, Dalton Connect would be in my rotation. Dalton Connect has shown that he belongs in this league. And he could, in today's game with the players that's around now, he can actually do some damage. I'm not saying he'll be what tier because I don't know yet. But from what I've seen, Dalton Connect gets busy. You know what I'm saying?
You just gotta
he gotta get the consistent chance to do that.
He needs to get consistent minutes, and when he gets his minutes, it should be next to a consistent star to where it's going to be like, so it's an easy transition. And that's where my thing about Anthony Davis, if he's supposed to be the number one guy for the team, then he should be.
Well, when they was now earlier in the year, they was running it through Anthony Davis, and they was better doing that. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
but
I don't think the game plan has changed. I don't think the game plan has changed. I just think that Anthony Davis is being Anthony Davis.
Look, man, the Lakers at the end of the day, they keep trying to look, man, the product is clear. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, whether D'Angelo Russell there, he trade him, fine. Trade D'Angelo Russell. AD would have been traded in my book.
Right.
He would have been. I'd have traded him a couple years ago, to be honest. You know, and I love AD, but the thing is, I'm not blind. You know what I'm saying? AD, right. He's not consistent enough to be a number one option.
No.
Like he's not. He got the abilities, but it's the same. It's the Tatum talk.
Ability in what sense though? Because I'm still trying to figure out what does he do offensively.
Anthony Davis
that's capable of consistently being dominant.
Anthony Davis, when he shows up, he's an easy 30 and 10 guy, easily.
Right, but
however you want to slice that, it's still 30-10, 30 and 12. All right.
I mean, well, that's
he can
Giannis
score down low.
We talking about Giannis then.
Man, Anthony Davis plays better basketball than Giannis Antetokounmpo. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, Anthony, when he wants to, he can play back to the basket. When he wants to, he can score down low. This is all when he wants to in front of it, and I don't like that.
Right.
I don't like to put when he wants to in front of it, but when he wants to, he can play down low. That's evidence, visual evidence of that. He can play big boy basketball when he wants to. You know what I'm saying? He can hit the midi when he wants to. I don't really like him out in the perimeter, but
that's what he wants to do.
Whatever. But he can play old school power forward basketball when he wants to, but he doesn't. He can block shots and play defense. He has all the tools in his bag. He don't use it. So, therefore,
I ain't gonna say he got all the tools. Because
I mean, you be liking to disagree.
No,
you just like to disagree.
No.
You do, man.
I'm sitting here trying to figure out what is his go-to move. Because I mean, look, we all know Jermaine O'Neal had the turnaround fadeaway. Dirk Nowitzki had his fadeaway that he had. You know, Al Jefferson hit you with a million pump fakes, footwork. You know, what is Anthony Davis's go-to move? He doesn't have a go-to move, if you ask me. He just relies on his athletic ability with his size and his dribbling ability, and he likes to try to do that step back jumper for a 3-point shot. Outside of that, like
that's why I say he's a tier 2 guy. I've always said that.
Amari Stoudemire, we knew he was going to go down low, put his shoulder in your chest, and he was dunking on it.
Yeah,
go-to move.
But I've admitted to you, past couple years, he's a tier 2 guy. He's not no tier 1 forward to me.
But that's part of the reason why I feel the way I feel about him.
So he don't have a go-to move, no. But he still, in today's game, get 30 and 12 when he wants to. Or if he applies himself, and he doesn't. So, right. I mean, that's just the bottom line. It is what it is. You know what I mean? So, right. I like AD
I'd rather get a batch of good players in return for him.
I've already told you I'd rather have a team full of dogs than just
That's why that trade,
full of dogs.
Look, that trade, it looks bad long term.
What trade? The Lakers?
Yeah, to get him over there.
Now,
it looks bad long term.
I agree, but now you look at this though. I'm gonna say this. Lonzo, he got bad injury issues, and Brandon Ingram isn't consistent at all. None in his chest at all.
Kyle Kuzma is probably the most consistent one out of the bunch.
And look at those dudes. So I mean, in theory, I hear you, but if you look at their production,
right, which is like okay, so something that I seen on another podcast. It was actually Melo's them podcast, and he had Andre Iguodala on there, and they was talking about like things that they learned from Allen Iverson and whatnot. And one of the things that they learned about like his time in Philadelphia in comparison to his time in Denver. Philadelphia is one of those organizations, at least at that time, based on what they said. I put it in the group chat. Based on what they said, Philadelphia it was an organization that wasn't trying to win. I did not know. Yeah, I did not know that Philadelphia did not have their own practice facility when he was there. They did not have their own. They rented out gyms.
What NBA team don't have their own practice facility?
Let them tell you though, bro. They did not have their own practice facility. They rented out gyms. He said sometimes they will be trying to go and do their practice, but they would have a very small, limited amount of time to do practice because they got this volleyball thing scheduled in the gym, or this other thing scheduled in the gym. So that lets you know what a superstar like Allen Iverson was dealing with. He was trying to win a championship with a franchise that didn't want to win or didn't care to win, right? So, and then Melo was like, so glad you said that, because when you compare his time in Philadelphia to when he came to us in Denver, we had a practice gym right upstairs in the stadium. He was in there all the time. That's why he was like, the footage that you've seen of us playing around in there, you never seen anything like that in Philadelphia because they didn't have their own gym. And so and so when I hear things like that, and I'm not using this to talk about Allen Iverson, I'm using this to talk about franchises. If you have evidence and players coming out saying those type of franchises exist to where we're not going to provide the necessary means for our players to win and get better so they can win championships, I have no reason to believe that things have changed mentality-wise with these owners.
I mean, I think that's obvious.
Right.
I think some people just buy a team just to or just have a team because just a small. Like, I mean, I'm quite sure there's teams they just happy to just be in the club. Right. I mean, honestly,
because they get a nice check.
Because if you try to improve, you will.
Right.
If you try to improve, you will improve.
Right.
If you really sat down and looked at your players, okay, if you try to, because it's a million ways to skin a cat, man. There's not just one way to win. You know what I'm saying? If you try to improve and get the cats out of there, don't need to be there, and get your career, all this start from the top here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Starts from the top.
You got to get the correct staff. You got to get the correct. It all starts from the top on down.
The owner has to have a winner's mentality.
Yeah.
The general manager has to have a winner's mentality.
You know what I'm saying?
And then the coaching staff has to have a winning mentality. Yeah. And that's down to the trainers, all of
everything matters when it comes to a championship team.
And then it goes to the players.
Everything matters. You have to have a GM that don't like losing and that don't tolerate losing.
Right.
That they're not with all that. Like, you scared to lose. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know? Mm-hmm. Then you gotta have your correct, because you can't keep your eye on everything. I've always told you I will invest in a scouting team.
Right.
I will pay. Listen, I need cats. I need you everywhere. I need cats everywhere. I will pay for a scouting team. Trainers, you don't want dudes getting injured all the time. You want dudes that's able to treat certain injuries or have cats able to play with certain injuries and protect it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You need a proper coaching staff to know how to lead men and get people to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Then you need the players that buy in everything. Right. It all takes work.
Right.
It's not just about being in the club.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Which is something that apparently we don't see in today's league. I mean, you think about Kenny Smith's story when he got drafted by the Sacramento Kings, and he was like, he walks in, introduces himself, and he has said that they didn't even know who he was. And he just got drafted. So it's like, you know, he seen that and he was like, oh, they not serious about winning around here.
Nah, man. It's teams that you want to be in the club.
Right.
It takes a lot of work to win a championship, and it takes hard decisions. You got to make a lot of hard decisions to win championships.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So that's why the good franchises, they can stand out like a sore thumb, and the bad franchises, they can stay at the bottom.
Yeah. Now, sometimes there is politics and I'm not going to say politics is involved in money. You can't get around that.
Right.
But even if you handle your business, you can break through the politics. The Pistons did.
Right.
The league didn't want the Pistons winning back in the day, but they still did.
Right.
But they found a way they changed the rules on them. Like,
right.
no, we ain't, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But then the Pistons found a way to win in 04. You know what I'm saying? And went back. There's ways around it. You know what I'm saying? But you got to try to win, though.
Right.
A lot of cats just want to be in the club and come with the perks of owning the team.
Right.
Huh? So, would that conclude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to let that rock.
That the first half?
Because we're going to be right back on this tomorrow.
Yeah. So that's what the first...
From a group aspect.
Would you say that's the first half of the season review? Or we got to do that?
This is just the quarter.
The first quarter, I mean.
The quarter review?
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't touch on all the teams, but like...
It's not necessary really because it's like bad, like honestly.
Right. So.
But yep. So we gonna go ahead and we gonna have a squad pod tomorrow. So.
Yeah.
All right, man. Make sure y'all like, subscribe to the content. Peace.
Peace.